Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When we were trying to get this podcast off the ground, we had so many questions. How do we record an episode? Where do we find background music? How do we get our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places that people like to listen? And where do we find advertisers? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing, and monetizing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and 100% ridiculously easy to use. Anchor makes it simple to get up and running. You can upload and schedule your podcasts ahead of time. It publishes to all the major podcast platforms. You can easily check your stats. I could go on, but instead, why don't you go and get started? Go to anchor.fm/start to join the e-commerce minute and a diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
It's the e-commerce minute, your daily dose of e-commerce, tech, and retail news with your hosts Bart Mraz and John Suter. The e-commerce minute is a production of Sumo Heavy, a digital commerce consulting firm in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. Find us on the web at sumoheavy.com. It's e-commerce minute, episode 216.
In today's episode, Instagram launches payment for commerce.
Big news. Instagram has quietly launched a native payments feature to some of its users. This is according to an article published by TechCrunch last Thursday. The new feature allows users to register a debit or credit card as part of a profile, allowing you to shop and pay without ever leaving the platform. Instagram's existing shoppable tags feature forces you out of a business's website to make a purchase, unlike the new payments feature. It goes without saying that this is a game changer for brands and individuals selling on Instagram. A profile tab allows a Visa, MasterCard, Amex, or Discover card to be added to the app, while a security tab allows users to set a PIN for authorizing purchases. A separate activity tab lists anything that a user has purchased on Instagram. Instagram confirmed to TechCrunch that native payments for booking appointments, like at restaurants or salons, is now live for a limited set of partners. Native payments are another reason more brands will be moving to the platform. With a seamless checkout option, brands will see higher conversion rates, and Instagram will see more revenue via brands using shoppable posts. Now, if they'd only fix the links.
That is the funniest thing. The links are not fixed, but hey, let's do commerce.
It's intentional, but it's very frustrating. It's totally intentional. So this is great. This is great for a whole ton of obvious reasons. But what I'm going to do is talk about the niche players on Instagram. I found something on Bloomberg last week before this came out. There is a exploding market for vintage clothing on Instagram, and it's perfect for it because obviously clothing, very visual. And there's these niche shoppers, single players that just are really into the vintage clothing scene. They make a post, and they say, "Oh, here's what it's going to cost," and the first person to get it can claim it. This is going to totally tear down the whole payment process of it. I mean, there's some of these people that are making $3,000 a month just selling, crap they picked up in Goodwill.
Yeah, I mean, it changes the whole play, right? If you have a good, you can really, really sell that stuff. I mean, it's taking nasty gal. What is that?
Nasty gal.
And really, really putting in today's world where it's like, it's really quick and you can sell it. I mean, you hook this up to Shopify that pushes into eBay and all these other platforms, or you sell it in there, and you're really like rocking and rolling. And
yeah, so
basically you just do it off your phone.
Yeah. So what are you saying? So you would create a post on Instagram and push it somewhere else, or go back the other way?
Both ways, right? So if you can actually get this payment thing, that's great because you just buy off of that, but you can kind of use Shopify to do that too.
Right.
And then imagine being at a Goodwill, one of those, you can find vintage stuff, and you literally just take a picture and you can sell it before you leave the store. Like all of a sudden you have this like, hey, I have my inventory, just walk in, and that's what I do for 8 hours, just walk around the store. It might be a little tiring for people who work there, but
exactly. I mean, if you look at this, I'm going to link this Bloomberg article in the show notes. They're basically saying that that's what these people are doing. They're spending their afternoons. They comb the vintage in the thrift shops, buy it real cheap, and the real work goes into styling the photos. But these are people that are already on Instagram and are really into the Instagram aesthetic. So they'll spend some time getting the clothes, cleaning it up, and then they'll spend another chunk of time. But they'll batch process it. So the girl could spend a weekend batch taking photos of all this vintage stuff, and then during the week just go boom, 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 and just blow this stuff out.
And the fact that Instagram will let you now post on the schedule from other things.
Oh, I completely forgot about that. So now instead of, it being, okay, it's 10 o'clock, I got to put the post up. If you're using a social manager like a Buffer or Hootsuite, you could just batch all that stuff up for as much content as you have.
Yeah. So imagine doing it, you spend a weekend, on Saturday you go, and you have to know what will sell and stuff like that. But
Of course.
that's just homework. But imagine going Saturday to do all your vintage stuff. You pick it up, come home, Sunday you shoot everything, and then describe it, put it up there, and then all week you're just kind of rocking and rolling. And as it comes in, send it out, done and done.
Yeah,
pack it, literally pack it up, and that's it.
So in the article, Ivy Retro, an online stop started in 2016 by a 22-year-old Brooklyn student. She gets 7,000 Instagram followers, between 18 to 24. She gets her followers via hashtags, and she rakes in about $3,000 a month. She tried Facebook and Pinterest, but Instagram is the best for shopping in vintage fashion. Mm-hmm. And she says it's definitely a lot more popular than it was a year ago. So I think Instagram is the place to be. I think it's going to be the place to be for people selling, especially if you have something that's visual, not like consulting like we sell.
No, but visual, it could be in anything, right? You can cars and stuff like that. It's just it's taking the eBay out of it or everything else out of it, and you're playing that, into that.
And I think it's a lot less friction than eBay, because even eBay, it's like there's just so much things you got to get around, where it's Instagram, like there it is, and if I want it, I can click on it, and if I don't want it, I can just scroll past. It's great.
That is correct, sir.
All right, real game changer. I know you got to jump off. So anything else, Dad?
That is it.
All right. Again, I'll link the Bloomberg article. Very interesting in the show notes. Our show notes are available at ecommerceminute.co, where you can find also past episodes and show notes for every single episode, just about every episode in our catalog. That's your e-commerce minute for today. We'll see you on the internet tomorrow. That's it for today's show. If you like the show, do us a favor and subscribe, or leave us a review on iTunes. And don't forget, you can now listen to the e-commerce minute on your Amazon device. Just add e-commerce minute to your flash briefing. And finally, if you have a comment or suggestion, or just want to say hi, find us on social media at Sumo Heavy.